Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. And welcome to Chinatown and the Monarch at Chinatown. Well, I love to say it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and it definitely is. The rain has paused, the sun has shined out on us, and we're just so glad that you could join us for this incredible celebration that involves so many people over so much effort and time. So we've got a full lineup. This marks a real momentous opportunity in the life of our development, in the life of our agency, in the life of Chinatown and our city. And folks have traveled from far and near to be here to celebrate with us and you. But let's just first talk about, it couldn't be more of a fitting name than to call this building the Monarch. You see, because a monarch butterfly goes through so many different stages in life before it takes flight and soars to new heights. For us, our agency has come through, like so many of you all, the pandemic. And we are emerging and soaring to new heights. For our residents, many of them have come through incredible trials to find safe and suitable and beautiful, affordable housing. Today marks the celebration of a metamorphosis in many of their lives, that they have safe, stable housing from which their careers can soar, their hopes and aspirations and dreams can soar as well. You see, for us at Fresno Housing, we're not just about creating places where people can survive. We're all about joining hands and creating partnerships so that people can thrive. And that's what the Monarch is all about. So I'd just like to kick this off by first acknowledging and welcoming some who have traveled with us. You'll hear all about all of the many partners and how long it took and challenges that we overcame and all of the multiple funding sources that make this building and the services we provide at this building all possible. But I'd first like to acknowledge Dr. Ambler, our assemblyman. Right. Sir, come on up. You have a plaque and some things you'd like to share, and so I turn the mic over to you.
Well, let's give another round of applause, if we can, to Tyrone Roderick Williams and the Housing Authority. Now, it's such a pleasure to be back here in community, and we're going to hear about all of the partnerships that were required for us to secure the funding to build this building behind us. But I want to begin, if I can, by appreciating community who insisted on having their voice heard in advocating to have affordable housing in our community. It is because of your hard efforts that we are here today. Because you ensured that your voice was going to be heard by those of us who are policymakers, that we are able to be here today celebrating the joys of opening up spaces for our communities to thrive. But what we also know to be true is that while we built 54 units right behind us, there were over 4,000 applications for these units as well. And so our work is not done. And I look forward to working with community, rolling up our sleeves, figuring out how we continue to advocate for future resources. But what we must also do is celebrate the successes that we do have. So it's with that I come with a recognition for the Housing Authority, for the work that we've done here at the Monarch at Chinatown. I'm grateful for Tyrone Roderick Williams and all the partners who have helped to make this a reality. But let us stay grounded in community, who's the reason for what we have behind us. And let's look forward to working with each other to make sure that we can continue to develop more projects just like this. Thank you for allowing me to share some words with you today.
Thank Thank you. Okay, wait. All right, thank you. Well, Congressman Casa could not be here, but we have representatives from his office. Daniel, would you come on up, please?
Hello, my name is Daniel Sepulveda, and I'm a district representative for Congressman Costa's office. We're very excited about this housing opportunity here in downtown Fresno, and I'm here to present a certificate for the grand opening of the Monarch.
Thank you. Where do we look? Where do we look? Okay, I think we're good. Thank you, thank you. Well, our agency, in addition to our incredible staff, is led by an incredible board. And without their support and leadership, projects like this around the city and across the country, across the county, would not be possible. So first of all, I'd like to just acknowledge all of our commission members who are here today. If you are a commissioner, could you please stand? Thank you. And our commissioners really represents both the city and the county. And today you'll hear from both our county chair and our city chair. I'd like to invite to the podium County Board Chair, Commissioner Kerry Catalano.
Thank you, Tyrone, and thank you all for being here today. I'd like to first start off by saying thank you to all of my fellow commissioners, and we'd like to welcome you all to the Monarch. We have an amazing group of community volunteers that serve on this board every day to meet the housing needs not only in the city of Fresno, but throughout Fresno County. When I was thinking about what I wanted to say today, I thought a lot about how historic and special this moment is, not only for the residents of Fresno housing, but also for the residents throughout Fresno County. I thought a lot about the nearly 50,000 residents, of which 22,000 are children. 22,000 are children that we serve throughout our great county that need decent and affordable shelter. That's not a lot to ask for, is it? Somewhere decent and affordable to live. I thought a lot about the transformative work our agency has done over the last 15 years, completing nearly 40 developments, housing thousands of residents. The one behind me is number 38, and a big shout out to our development team. They are the rock stars of the country. Thank you for putting Fresno on the map. I also thought a lot about the collective work and the investment our agency, our local municipalities, and our private sector partners have made. Did you know in the last 15 years, Mayor, $790 million between our local municipalities and our private partners have been invested not only in the city of Fresno, but throughout Fresno County, raising local economies and giving hopes to neighborhoods just like this one. Just like this one. It proves that the private sector is bullish on Fresno's future. They believe our future is bright, and we are so thrilled to have their partnership. Then I turn my thoughts to the 110 residents that live right behind me. 26 are children, and I keep mentioning the children because they are our future. They are our future. I thought about their individual stories, struggles, and hopes for something better, something safer, something they could be proud to call home. This project we all could be proud of. I thought about 63-year-old, and I'm sorry, maybe David, I shouldn't have said your age, David Sakura, he's right here, sorry, David. He's one of our newest family members that lives in the Monarch, our Chinatown. You're going to learn a little bit more about David later in the program, but I do want to share with you some testimony he shared with Dale Yaron on ABC 30 that really says everything that needs to be said about the work that we do every day. And here is what he said. Laying down in my bed here, peace and quiet, safe. Remember that word, safe. Stuff like that, because anything could have happened to me because I was living in my car. I was living in my car. But thank God nothing happened to me. David, we are grateful you are here with us today, and I'd like for you to stand for just a moment to be acknowledged as our newest family member. Please stand. I say this all to you for one reason, because Fresno Housing's business is the people's business. We want to give everybody that needs a place safe to live, a safe place to live. That's what the Monarch represents, and that's what all of our projects represent. Without all your support, we would not be standing here today. So I want to thank you again on behalf of my colleagues, and I'd like to ask the Mayor of Fresno to please join me here at the podium. Thank you all.
Thank you, Kerry. Appreciate it very much. And this is a big day for the city of Fresno. And it's a big day for a lot of reasons. Number one, we are in a housing crisis here in the city of Fresno, like many cities across the United States. We need more affordable housing, and this project is going to satisfy a portion of that need. The other reason this is a big day for Fresno is because we have certain neighborhoods in Fresno that have been left behind and forgotten. And Chinatown happens to be one of those areas of Fresno that was once a thriving area. About 140 years ago, Chinatown was established, and during that time, it is where a lot of our cultural roots and our ethnic roots started. In fact, about 14 different cultures initiated or originated right here in Chinatown. And I know that through that time, from the late 1800s to about the 1950s, Chinatown was thriving. It's where people came to live, to work, to play, and it was a place that we were very, very proud of. Unfortunately, in the 1960s, we began to lose much of that. People began to leave, businesses began to leave. And then ultimately what you ended up with is what you see today. And so thanks to a lot of investments, a lot of partnerships, and a lot of vision, we are changing that right here through our partnership with the Fresno Housing Authority. And I want to begin by thanking a couple of people. Former Mayor Ashley Swearingen and Daniel Bergstrom, who worked tirelessly with the Strategic Growth Council to create the transformative climate communities and to generate revenue for the city of Fresno and Fresno Housing to make this project a reality. In fact, the city of Fresno contributed about $12 million to this project, $10.8 million from the Strategic Growth Council for Transformative Climate Communities. So once again, this place is solving two needs: housing security, as well as reviving a neighborhood that needs some tender loving care. And I look forward to it. This is only the beginning. I look for big things to happen right here in Chinatown, but this is the catalyst that will open the eyes and shed the light on an area that was once forgotten. So thank you, and God bless you.
I'd like to invite our city council member representing this area, Miguel Arias.
Thank you. For the record, it's cold out here, and I'm not ashamed to say that I'm cold, so I'm wearing a coat. My manhood still remains intact, even though I acknowledge that it's cold. You know, Chinatown was a place where people of color were relegated to live on this side of the tracks by discriminatory policies of the banking industry and the city and the county. And today it's a place where those same communities of color are choosing to live in Chinatown, and one of the best designed and built projects in the whole city. And that didn't happen by accident. It took a lot of people working in the same direction, led by the residents who said it's time for us to reinvest in our older neighborhoods. This project will not be in isolation. It's a catalyst to many other investments that will take place. There'll be a multi-million-dollar streetscape project that kicks off this summer that will fix the broken sidewalks, plant new trees, add bike lanes, improve the pedestrian friendliness of this area. We're working on a new housing project, a catty corner to this project. And the most important part of all this is that this project is in the gateway of the largest public infrastructure investment project in the country, that's a high-speed rail station. We're being intentional that the freeway, the tracks that once divided communities of color and disconnected them from the center of economic and government is going to be reconnected through the high-speed rail station. And that was in no small feat. It's always easier for these big institutions to do the cheapest and the easiest project instead of building one that has two entrances to reconnect communities that have been divided for generations. And I'll leave you with this. I want to thank the residents who have chosen to come back and live in Chinatown. I've met residents today that used to live here 30 and 40 years ago and left when it became unsafe. They're choosing to come back and reinvest and live in their communities, and they're bringing new generations of families with them. I also want to say thank you to a couple of folks who spent quite a bit of time making this project take place. One of them is Terry Cox. Part of this complexity of these projects is if you don't meet certain deadlines, people want their money back. And in this case, if we didn't meet the occupancy deadline in December, we would have to pay back $7 million to the state of California. And Terry's overtime work ensured that we kept that $7 million in this project, that they got occupancy permits, and people were allowed to move in slowly versus having to put the project at risk. So Terry, we have some flowers for you, at the very least, for saving us a few $1 million. And she officially works for the mayor, so he gets some credit too, Mayor. And lastly, I want to thank the Housing Authority, who will speak next, Michael Duarte. For too long, our relationship with the city and the Housing Authority perceived that the Housing Authority could only build basic housing where people could survive. They were seen as a very simple way for neighborhoods to say, not in my backyard. I don't want public housing in Section 8 in my backyard. Now what they've become is a development organization that builds affordable, quality, mixed income housing that they now compete with market rate developers. I now get complaints from developers, why are you working with them instead of with us? They're taking some of our clients, their designs are better than ours, their buildings are nicer looking, people prefer them, and yes, there was 4,500 applications for 54 units here for that reason. So thank you to the Housing Authority for evolving and meeting the needs of today and tomorrow, and more importantly, for keeping the human aspect of this work. I encourage you guys to get to know some of the families that live here. You will be humbled by their history, the fact that they were living the streets just a year ago, the fact that they were disconnected from their own families for decades, and now they have a place to call their own for the first time in their mid-50s. Things that shouldn't have to take place, but that is the reality we live in. So with that, let me introduce Michael Duarte, also known as the genius of housing in Fresno. And for the record, the city did try to hire him a couple years ago, but the Housing Authority threatened us with a lot of stuff if we did. So, Michael, thank you.
Wow, there's so many things to say about this development, and I've been thinking quite a bit about what to say, and I'm going to put my notes away just because I'm going to speak to it. But I was just want to say that the transformational work that we're all a part of is really complex and difficult. The affordable housing finance is some of the hardest financing to put together in a real estate deal, and to do it in a context that is transformational, right? We're investing here because no one else is investing here. If Fresno Housing Authority doesn't lead the way to invest here, who will? So to do that work in a context like this, at the doorstep of the future high-speed rail station down the street, is particularly hard. I was talking with one of our investment partners who's going to speak in a short while, but we brought him out here 5 years ago and we said, this is where we want to invest. And he goes, not me, I can't do it. But persistence and the vision he bought into. But it only comes together with a great team, right? We have great partners. I want to give a shout out to our development team, our Section 8 team, our property management team, GSF, who's our property manager, just so many people part of this work. I would also say that we couldn't do it alone, right? Not only is this work complicated, I wanted to make sure that every funding partner at the state and federal level participated. If you look at our sign behind me, we didn't leave anybody out. Usually we do a deal with one state partner. Here we didn't want to leave anybody out, right? Strategic Growth Council, CEDLAC, TCAC, CalHFA, HCD, you name it. There's many partners. If I keep naming them, I'm gonna forget them. But this work is only done because we have so many committed partners so many committed community members that made this possible. So I'm just happy to be here today and welcome everybody to the Monarch. Next, I'd like to introduce Ben from EPRI to talk about some of the energy efficiencies here.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everybody, for having us. So my name is Ben Claren, and I'm humbled and privileged to be part of the whole development and the energy team that is part of this great development that we have. At EPRI, our mission is to provide safe, reliable, and affordable and environmentally responsible energy systems throughout the country. And in the center of that is the buildings and communities that they serve. About 5 years ago, we were given a challenge and a grant, and I want to acknowledge the California Energy Commission of giving us the challenge to working with builders and the developers across the state to design, develop, and construct all-electric, zero-net energy communities in the state of California. Michael Duarte and his team, I remember you gave me the challenge of doing it so that it doesn't impact comfort, convenience, and safety of the tenants and the people that will live here eventually. So with that, we started working on this 5 years ago, and what I remember is it was just these little last mile tweaks that we had to do here. It was a design of an HVAC system, it was increased solar, it was improved water heating, and what that became were measures that were improved safety because of improved cooking, less bills because of the solar, improved air quality because of high efficiency water heating. So all the energy efficiency measures here are built in for comfort, convenience, and cost savings. And as we move forward, ourselves as well as the Energy Commission, and thanks to everybody here, what we want to do is we want to understand how technologies as well as occupants are perceiving the technologies that have been deployed here. So not only can we understand the investments that were made in this community, but also the other communities that will be designed, constructed, and developed in the city of Fresno, as well as the 100,000 new residential developments that are going to happen in the state of California. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it. We're really humbled to be part of this great team. And with that, I will introduce, I believe it's Lynn. Yes, go ahead. Well, thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Lynn Von Koch-Liebert, and I am the Executive Director of the California Strategic Growth Council, and we are so excited to be with you here today. The Strategic Growth Council is one of the funding entities that have brought resources through the Transformative Climate Communities program. And we have the team back here who's made this possible from our side, who have worked with the City of Fresno and all of the TCC project partners over the last 5 years to really help work together to help make this happen. Now, one of the things that I think is so important about this project, the Monarch and the broader Transformative Climate Communities program, is that it's fundamentally shifting the way that we work together through state, local, and community partnerships. It's really building on years, decades of work that has been done at the community level through community activization, planning, prioritization, and it's investing resources at a time to really help bring those visions to reality. And so I'm really grateful to all the work that has happened to make this project such a success and such a vanguard for this community. But I'm also really grateful for all the work that went into the first round of the Transformative Climate Communities program, where Fresno was the first recipient and is going to serve as the leader and the example that so many other communities across the whole state look to as they also think about how they can access these dollars and help do community revitalization that is focusing on community priorities and what the community wants to see to really help meet climate, equity, affordability goals. And I know it all starts with home and housing. So I think it's so perfect that we're here today to celebrate the opening of this place that so many residents are going to call home in the community in the way that they want to see it built. So thank you so much for inviting us to join you today, and congratulations. And with that, I'd like to introduce Sebastian Glauke, Business Development Officer at U.S. Bank.
Hello, everyone. Sebastian Glowacki with U.S. Bank Community Development Corp. We were, U.S. Bank was the lender and investor on this project, along with, I believe we have done now 9 projects with the Housing Authority over almost 11 years. So long-term partnerships, and in that time, I learned one thing: you don't say no to Michael Duarte easily. You can say no, but you know at the end of the day it's going to be a yes. So it did take some time, it did take some brain work, and it took a lot of different partnerships to to move the burn tower in order to build this project. But that's sort of my point, is it takes the collaboration of everyone to be willing to bend rules, come up with new ways. We have a housing crisis, and we can't do it any one way. There is no prescription. There is no magic pill. It takes all of us to step out of our comfort zone. Michael, thank you for pushing me. And provide housing such as this. So humbled to be here. It's an amazing transformation of the neighborhood from when I first saw it 5 years ago, and we look forward to seeing further changes. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Nancy Robles, and I'm the Executive Director of the California Tax Credit Allocation Committee and the California Debt Limit Allocation Committee. And what that really means is I'm the money lady. So my organization awarded this project over $20 million in bonds and over $5 million in tax credits, both federal and state. And to help you understand what that really means is, first off, it's the money that helped construct this beautiful community that you're in. But for every one application that we receive, we have to turn 2 away. So it's with, just great honor that I'm here today and get to see this beautiful community. And not only that, Fresno's my hometown. So if anybody out there recognizes me from high school, let's just keep that between us. All right. I also have a certificate to present on behalf of my boss, the State Treasurer of California, Fiona Ma. She would also like to give congratulations for the construction of this affordable, high-quality unit for the residents of the city of Fresno. Thank you very much. And with that, I would like to introduce Eduardo Cabrera from HUD.
Oh, okay. What a beautiful and great day to be in Fresno, isn't it? Yes. My goodness. Talk about the jewel of the block, the jewel of the neighborhood, the jewel of Fresno, I think. And I'm here today really to applaud your collective efforts, because really it does take all of us to get something like this accomplished, and you all know that. But also to remind you that the impressive amount of leadership and commitment that's extended here from our federal partners to the state, the county, the city, private sector, nonprofits, faith-based groups, and really all of us is not to be taken for granted. It doesn't happen in every community, certainly not where I'm from, in San Francisco. And I think what is important to also share is that HUD remains committed as your federal partner in California, in Northern California, and we're putting our money where our mouth is. We have a proposed budget that the administration has put forward that really deepens HUD's commitment to building affordable housing in every community across the country. We have a commitment to end the scourge of homelessness in our communities, which is a crisis, particularly here in California in the Central Valley. And we're investing not just in housing, but in also supporting and investing in our public facilities and in our local economies to make it more resilient and more lasting. I wanted to share a few numbers too, because you all are very fortunate here in having the Fresno housing authorities here really playing a leadership role in the city, but also setting the bar high across the country, because because you may not know this, but housing authorities typically now are divesting. They're moving back from developing real estate development. Not here, not here. In fact, I'll go as far as to say that here, Fresno Housing is really a prolific real estate developer of affordable housing. Since 2010, we have seen 2,100 multifamily units come online here, and that's nothing to scoff at. Certainly, Supervisor Catalano shared the important numbers, because really what is important here is the residents, the tens of thousands of children, tens of thousands of adults that are helped here every day because of these collective efforts. Here, we have most recently extended new funding for the Fresno Housing Authority, a total amount of over $3 million, both to the city and county housing authorities for an increased capital investment. We'll continue moving in that trajectory. Again, it's a pleasure to be with you here today to celebrate this important occasion. And now, because it's important to note that this is about community, it's my pleasure to invite Tyrone back as your fearless leader here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you. You know, it takes Nancy at the state level, it takes Ed at the federal level, but unable to be here today is Tina Johnson Hall, who is the Executive Director of the California Housing Finance Agency. But I am the governor's newest appointment to that board of directors, and representing Cal FHA. And I just want to say that our team is totally committed to the work here of the agency. And in fact, this is actually the second grand opening of a project that has been funded by Cal FHA in the last week and a half. So on behalf of the board of directors and the staff and Tina Johnson Hall, I'd just like to acknowledge and celebrate our participation at that level. You know, you've heard many times that this is about the residents. It's about community. And essential in that has been the business owners who've located here, who are committed to Chinatown. And I'd like to invite June Stanfield, who is the owner of Golden Cuts Barbershop and Salon, to represent those businesses here in Chinatown. Welcome, June.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thank you. Yes, my name is June Stanfield. I was born and raised right in Southwest Fresno. Been here my whole life. Went to Edison High School. Hello. Hey. So yeah, 24 years ago when I decided to open up my barbershop, the only place I decided to come to was Chinatown. As I was growing up, we as kids have to come through Chinatown to get to downtown. As you remember, that was our place to go. And as a kid, I was told, when you go, keep going. Don't stop. Go straight to downtown, because Chinatown was not a place where they wanted the kids to hang out. So of course, over the years and the changes that came, it didn't discourage me. I knew this is where I wanted to be. I saw the future that this community can become. And when the high-speed rail decided to bring that station over, I knew that this community was going to thrive in the future. And with Chinatown thriving and downtown going to thrive, Southwest Fresno is going to have to thrive with it, because we're all connected. And I'm so pleased to see everybody here to support this, and I'm hoping the Housing Authority in the city of Fresno will bring more housing in Chinatown, because that's what's going to bring more diversity, businesses, economics to this community. And if we can do that, we have nowhere else to go but up. All right, now thank you, and I'll bring back to the podium Adrian Jones, our next speaker.
Okay, June, you actually already have me in tears, and I'm going to try to get through this. Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here. So, first of all, full disclosure that if I'm not picture perfect, it is because I just returned home in the wee hours of this morning just to stand right here today. This has been a very long time coming. So I would like to ditto all of the thank yous that have previously been stated from, of course, my colleagues on the board who vote to approve these projects, to our development staff, to the full staff, to the city, to the county, to the families, to our vendors, to everyone that has been instrumental up to this point to get us to this day. Thank you. So, with the 2 minutes that they gave me to speak to you, I wanted to tell you that I just attended a conference, a housing conference in Washington, D.C. I spent the last few days with about 699 other crazy folks from across this nation who truly believes, Mayor Dyer, that we can eradicate homelessness in this country. Not just decrease it, but eradicate it. So for the past few days, our charge was to advocate to our elected officials for more funding in affordable housing. And as you all know, there's always some idiot in the background that needs to know, why do we need to support affordable housing? So then, with the 2 minutes that they gave me to speak to you, I thought I would share with you some of the things that I shared with them as I advocated for affordable housing, because as you well know, sometimes you can't tell people or they don't quite understand what can happen. Sometimes they need to know what has happened. So I shared with them that as a direct result of my participation in an affordable housing program as a resident with the Fresno Housing Authority, I had access to fresh food, transportation, and as you well know, what was most important to me as a 40-year-old, education. I wanted them to understand that the access to these essentials in life provides the opportunity for other things. I needed them to know that as a direct result of that access, I was able to take the opportunity, and as a 40-plus-year-old woman, I went back to school. I graduated with a master's degree. I own my own home now. And in my real life, part-time, I'm the director of services at an agency working with aged-out foster youth in a transitional housing program that also provides them with independent living skills. Thank you. I have also recently accepted a position with the Poverello House, where I'm working with families who are unhoused and that are in transition to permanent supportive housing. And all of that is important and relevant. But then something dawned on me, and I realized that it is National Women's Her Story Month. So for all of the women in this house right now, take a hand and a bow for yourself, because you all have a story and I know it. So, with the 2 minutes that they gave me to speak, and before I introduce Mr. Segura, let me tell you, I stand before you, a black woman born to a 16-year-old girl at Edison High School. A woman who, because of her housing choice voucher, and because she had access to fresh food, to transportation, and to education, she became the first resident commissioner to become an at-large commissioner. Yes, I am now speaking in third-person terms, but follow me. She became the first former resident commissioner to become chair of the board, and she became the first black woman to chair the board of the 22nd largest housing authority in this nation. So if anyone needs to understand why it is important to ensure that families, Mr. Segura, have access to what? Fresh food, transportation, and education through affordable housing, you're looking at it. That's right. And I now would like to turn this podium over to Mr. Segura, one of our newest families at the Monarch.
They only gave me a minute, so. No. Good morning, everyone. My name is Dave Segarra. I'm a resident here at the Monarch. What a blessing. From living in my car for about almost a year. That was tough. But I made it through it, still held my job. And then I came across the Monarch that was almost being completed. So I emailed the heck out of, I think it's Erica, for almost 2 months straight. But my prayers were answered, and now I'm in the studio. I love it every day, and God bless the Monarch, and God bless everyone. Thank you.
Well, you know, I shared at the very beginning that it is so befitting to call this project the Monarch because of the metamorphosis and the change that butterflies go through, but also we as individuals and agencies and partnerships go through as well. So the butterfly has long been seen as a symbol of hope and endurance of the human soul. And so it's time to dedicate. We're going to dedicate this place to be a place of metamorphosis for individuals and their kids and the community and our partnerships. And so if you've got a camera or you taking pictures, there's only going to be one time. So I want you to get your angle right, your lighting right. But this is an opportunity. Okay. So in recognition of all those who come to Chinatown and all those who will come, we dedicate this building. Okay. All right. So these butterflies are like our residents. Once they find a great place to hang out, they don't want to leave. Okay, that's one. Okay, there we go. All righty here. They're pretty happy on this on the top there. You get the picture. Okay. Okay, there's another one. This is going to be the longest ribbon cutting you've ever participated in. Okay, here. Okay, let's put them back in the box.
Okay, everyone, that was pretty exciting. So we'd like to have all of our speakers join us over at our red ribbon over here. Just to let everyone know what we're going to be doing today is we'll be cutting the ribbon, but one of the most spectacular parts of the building is on the second floor. So everybody needs to make it to the second floor for our lunch and to see the amazing courtyard. It's like nothing you've ever seen. It's going to be beautiful.
Class of 65, Anderson High School. That's what I'm I hope so. I hope so. It's what?
Let me have a dog.
Okay.
Can I get one of your cards, BHF? Do you have a card?
I don't have one with me.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
We're moving our offices and everything went, and I couldn't grab them.
That's okay. What's the best way to just, I've got a couple of projects around the valley that I'm developing.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Just look me up online. My email address is right there. My phone number's right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's your last name again?
Robles.
Robles.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good day.
We'd like to have our board members join us.